Howdy, this is a quick update from Langley, BC. And I cannot say I feel very good about brokers right now. And what happened is that I booked a load. The broker actually called me offering me a load, right? And then she was our Landstar agent. And she was nice. She, increased the rate per mile for fuel surcharge. And then they paid me extra for weighing the truck, and I said, hey, I want this much money. So they said, okay, no problem, we want the truck there right away. And the listing says flatbed trailer, and it's like 20,000 pounds, no tarp. And I was supposed to go into Washington State, just across the border, maybe 30 kilometers from me, like 20 miles, and pick it up and bring it through the mountains, which actually I wasn't too happy about because there's a really big mountains between BC and Alberta. But the load is not heavy, so I was hoping I'd be okay because the weather there can get really bad. But I'd rather go into US, and like the way I came here towards the east. But what do? You need to make some money, right? But that's why I asked for a bit more money. And then they sent me the load confirmation. That's what I usually insist on. See, it looks like this. I say, hey, I'm not moving unless I get email with the load confirmation. And I'm looking here and it says my name, my truck number, the rate we agreed upon. It's kind of, it's also called freight bill terminal copy. Anyway, it has all the addresses where I'm going to pick it up, and it shows how the money is split between the fuel surcharge, and then they gave me this $100 as top charges, so that I get 100% of that, even though there's no tarp. But that's how they sometimes do it, basically to help out the driver. And okay, I took the cash advance as usual to help me pay for the fuel, and I go to the truck because there's a bank just around the corner, and I want to put the money into my Canadian bank account, at least some of that, because that's where my bills are coming out. And my phone rings, and we spend basically like 2 hours on the phone, doing this thing, right? And I looked up, my route. I know where I'm going. I'm already in the truck driving, so it takes preparation, right? You cannot just jump out of bed and start driving. You have to know what you're doing. We agreed where I'm crossing into US, where I'm crossing back when I'm loaded. Anyway, so everything is ready. I'm walking to the truck with my keys. And my phone rings, and the same lady says, oh, you know what? They just called back. They noticed that you have a 53 flat. And I said, that's right. Like, what the heck are you trying to say? And she says, well, these tanks are 9 feet tall. And I say, you joking, right? And I used a couple of, stronger expressions in that sentence, which I won't repeat here in case some minors are watching. And she says, no, she's not joking. So basically, we exchanged a couple of pleasantries, and turns out that she got. And I said, let me ask you this: you got this load from another broker, right? Am I correct? And she says yes. So I said, okay, so you don't have a direct contact with the shipper. You keep talking through another middleman or middlewoman. And that's what happened. That idiot, this lady that did actually, the Landstar lady did everything right, because that broker she dealing with sent her the load, and it says FB flatbed requested. But of course, no, her problem was because she didn't put any dimensions in the listing. And when I saw it on the, actually, wait a second, I didn't see it on the Landstar board. She called me. She said she just got it. She didn't even have time to put it on the load board, because then they get too many calls and they don't like that, so they'd rather call someone they know. And this agent, she's from Ontario, so she knows I'm from Ontario. So because I had a couple of loads, I did a couple of loads for her before, and one of them actually was screwed up too. I had to sit for 5 days with a load on my trailer, waiting to be unloaded. It was the same agent. But anyway, so that broker number one requested a wrong trailer. That's what happened. They told her FB flatbed, and she just called me knowing that I have a flatbed, and turns out it's too tall. And actually, before I took the load, before we started doing all this, I asked her, I said, this is good for a flatbed, right? This is not too tall. So I did my job. I asked her, and she's the agent, and she said, no, this is good. This is, you flat. That's what they requested. And basically they canceled. So I said, you know what, like, I can't even tell you how angry I am. And why? Because there's too many middlemen. That's what happens. If she was talking directly to the shipper, and maybe the shipper made a mistake, they would know much quicker without doing all this useless work and wasting 2 hours out of their lives. Brokers, what do?